emptiness so that free from ego, free from this false I, free from delusion, free from suffering, because it's all empty, we can function to help suffering beings. Okay? So, basic teaching of emptiness. It's a very amazing teaching. So, although it's a very small sutra, it's very, very, very deep, and I'll do my best to convey its meaning to you to help your practice. So, we open up, we look at the first chapter of the Diamond Sutra. It says, "Thus have I heard. Upon a time, Buddha sojourned in Anapandika's park by Shravasti with a great company of bhikshus, even 1,250. One day, at the time for breaking fast, the world-honored one, enrobed and carrying his bowl, made his way into the great city of Shravasti to beg for his food. In the midst of the city, he begged from door to door according to rule. This done, he returned to his retreat and took his meal. When he had finished, he put away his robe and begging bowl, washed his feet, arranged his seat, and sat down." Very interesting, this first chapter. Looks like, we're ready to read the Diamond Sutra. We're ready for the Buddha to speak. I used to just pass over this. I've read the Diamond Sutra just a few times, but every time I read it, I just passed right through this. Well, he does this. Okay, the Buddha got up, then he went, then he got his food. Okay, we know that. He begged his food. Then he went from door to door. Okay, then he ate his food. Well, of course, he got the food. He's going to eat it. Then he got the food. He put his bowl. Okay. What does he say on the next page? Actually, this first chapter of the Diamond Sutra is the whole Diamond Sutra. The whole meaning of the Diamond Sutra is this first chapter. This is the whole teaching. It's the whole teaching. It seems stupid. It seems like it doesn't mean anything. But it's just showing us, the Buddha is showing this mindful action. Mindful action. That's all. This very mindful action. Not special. We think Buddhism is something special. We think meditation practice is something special. We think religious experience is something special. That's why Jesus had to do miracles to wake people up, because people want something special. Something special happened. Therefore, he's special. But the Buddha was not like that. Also, Jesus was not like that. Jesus does these special things, doing these miracles, and then he says, "This is not my real job, this special stuff, this magic stuff. That's not my real teaching. But you have little faith, so I have to do this." Same thing with this. It doesn't look special, but this whole first chapter, only this is the Diamond Sutra. Only this. So you thought the Diamond Sutra was small, only this thick. Actually, it's thinner than that. The Diamond Sutra is shorter than that. It's just this first chapter. You can memorize it in 5 minutes. Why? Why is this the Diamond Sutra? All of you think there must be some mystery. Why he says this is the Diamond Sutra. There must be some secret teaching that he's going to reveal. Actually, there's no secret teaching. This is the Diamond Sutra, this first chapter. Everything we do after today is almost a waste of time. Because in this, what does the Buddha teach? Let's look at it. "Thus have I heard. Upon a time, Buddha sojourned in Anapandika's park by Shravasti with a great company of bhikshus, even 1,250. Okay, so it starts off, "Thus have I heard." This sutra is a recollection of the action of the Buddha. Ananda heard this teaching. They repeated the teachings. He heard this story, repeated it in the council after the Buddha's death. "Upon a time, Buddha sojourned in Anapandika's park by Shravasti with a great company of bhikshus, even 1,250. So, Buddhism did not happen in the mountains. Here we have this Ipsan in Korea, to become a monk. Ipsan. Enter the mountain. When you become a monk, you Ipsan Hada. Actually, in Buddhism, that was not original Buddhism. It was not in the mountain, away from society. Actually, Buddhism happened, that was the biggest city in India, Shravasti. 900,000 people. Huge city. And the Buddha lived in a park right next to it. So first point, there's no Sanjung Bulgo. That's later. That's from China. Lived in the city, maybe like, maybe Seoul Daegongwon or Rini Daegongwon or something. Some big, or Central Park or something. He lived in a big city, near a big city. So he was with a great company of bhikshus, even 1,250. Now, here's the point. One day, at the time for breaking fast, the world-honored one, this great Buddha, this enlightened one, with thousands of students, the world-honored one put on his robe, his begging robe, carrying his bowl. Very interesting. Watch what this is saying. This is the whole Diamond Sutra. Don't blink. If you blink, you'll miss it, because it's so short. Took his robe, took his bowl, and walked into the city of Shravasti to beg for his food. The Buddha did that. Imagine maybe President Bush or President Nomuhyun Dae-Tong-yong putting on his sports shirt, taking his bowl, and going into the city to ask for food. It would be in the newspapers the next day. Now here is Buddhism. People will forget about our politicians and presidents in a few years maybe, but this is really significant. This is the founder of a religion. At the time of breaking the fast, not when he wanted to, well, I feel like it, I don't know, maybe I'll eat, maybe I'll not eat. At the time of eating, he put on his robe, he picked up his bowl, he walked into the city. You know, they didn't carry him on one of these, things or in his ekus. He walked into this great city of Shravasti to beg for his food. In the middle of the city, in the midst of the city, he begged from door to door. He begged himself. From door to door, according to rule. So, in the Buddhist rule, the Buddha said, our practice is begging for food. So, if you go to one house, you must go to 6 more houses in a row. Why? Nowadays we have rich people living here, poor people living here, separate in our societies. Some area is Buja Dongne, other areas Chal Mosanan Dongne. Separate. But that time in India, it's all mixed up. Rich people, poor people living together. So he didn't want his monks to choose, this house has very good food. Their curry is number one. Their mosala paneer, or their zag paneer, spinach and cheese. Their zag paneer is number one. But these people, they don't have so much food. So to cut this mind, this choosing mind, this like and dislike mind, to cut that, he said, if you go to this house, you must go to the next 6 houses in a row. Whatever they give you, you accept. Very interesting rule. So, the Buddha made that rule for his monks and nuns, and he kept it himself. That's amazing. He was not above his own rule. One day at the time for breaking fast, so he went in at lunch. In the Buddhist tradition, we say that spirits eat in the morning. No, gods eat in the morning. Buddhas eat at lunch. Animals eat in the afternoon. And sort of, how could we say it? Heavenly beings eat at night. Spirits. So, the Buddha was teaching, at this time, the Buddha only ate at lunch. He only ate lunch. That's all. Until lunch, is very hungry. So, he kept that rule. One day at the time for breaking fast, the world-honored one, enrobed and carrying his bowl, this begging bowl, he went into the city. Every single day, the Buddha lived just like this. It's very interesting. In the midst of the city, he begged from door to door according to the rule. Very interesting. The Buddha, this is correct mindfulness. The Buddha did not put himself above even his own rule. Well, I made this rule. You guys follow it, but I'm done. I'm a Buddha. I don't need this rule. You need the rule. I don't. The Buddha never showed that. He showed this rule is for you, this rule is for me. It's very amazing. In the midst of the city, he begged from door to door according to rule. So when a president or one of our high-level government officials goes, all the traffic laws stop. No one can drive their car. Policemen stop there and block the road. So the rules that we keep and the rules that our leaders have to keep is different. Very interesting. The Buddha, this great leader, and people wanted to attack him. Some people didn't like the Buddha. Some people wanted to kill him. But every day he kept according to the rule. This done, when he was finished begging, he returned to his retreat and took his meal. Quietly. He returned to his retreat and took his meal. When he had finished, he put away his robe and begging bowl, washed his feet, arranged his seat, and sat down. So, what is this showing us? Why do we say this is the whole Diamond Sutra right here? It's the whole Diamond Sutra. Why? Because he shows mindfulness. Mindful action. Keeping the rule. Following the situation. It's very clear. So everyone thinks that religion is some special experience. Everyone thinks it's some mysterious state or condition. It's not. The great teachers have always pointed out that religious experience is just like this mind, just like this mind, moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment, following your condition and situation. That's all. So there's a very famous koan about this in China. A monk entered the monastery, with this great balshim, this great beginner's mind. A monk entered the monastery and said to the master at that time, Zen master Joju Sanza, he went up to him and he said, "Teacher, I have just entered the monastery. Please, I would like to have your mysterious teaching. What is your difficult, your very deep teaching? I've just entered. I'm ready for it. Give it to me. I'm all ready. I've studied, I've prepared, I've done everything. What is your mysterious teaching?" And Joju said, "Did you eat breakfast?" And the monk said, "Yes. I don't know what this has to do with things, but yes, I did eat, by the way." And Joju said, "Then go wash your bowls." And when he heard that, the monk got enlightened. So, the teaching of that koan is just this everyday life mind. When you eat, you wash your bowls. After you eat, you brush your teeth. When you wake up, you stretch and shower. That's all. It's very simple. It's this everyday mind. But we don't think that. Our mind is always somewhere else. Tomorrow, I have to do this. I have to meet this. Then I have to get. Then I have to meet this person. Well, that means I've got to get this, and then I have to get this. So stressed. So this computer is always broken down. Nowadays we have more of that. I say this to a lot of people nowadays. Nowadays, people who come to the temple for teaching. Before, people asked about teaching. Some teaching. What is the way? What is mind? How can I practice? What is meditation? When I first came to Korea, maybe about 13, 14 years ago, very clear. People came to the temple, they asked about suheng. They asked about mind. They asked about truth. They asked about religion. They asked about practice. Nowadays, time passing, not so much anymore. People come in, my situation is difficult, my home life is complicated, my marriage is having a problem, my relationship, it's all this complicated talking. Not good, not bad. Not good, not bad. But people's minds now are more complicated. So, this first page of the Diamond Sutra is pointing us back to a very simple thing. It's so simple, it's stupid. It's very, very stupid. It's like, they have in the gospel when Jesus says, if you want to enter the kingdom of heaven, just become like a child again. That's all. The child eats, delicious. When tired, sleeps. You never meet a child with sleeping problems. Did you ever meet a child with sleeping problems or eating problems? Almost never. Tired is hungry? A child is hungry? Wah! Then give the food? Shut up. No. A child is tired? Go to sleep. Even in a car. Even in a noisy place. Did you ever see that? A child can sleep even in the middle of a music concert or something, or a movie. Very simple. That's why we say, when you're hungry, eat. When you're tired, sleep. Everyone thinks this is very stupid teaching, but who in this room can really do that? We lie, but I can't sleep. I don't. 잠이도 안 와요. What do you say? I don't. Tomorrow I have to. Tomorrow I have to do this. Then wake up. Then maybe read a book. Maybe watch TV. In temple it's very simple. Temple, you have to wake up at 3 o'clock. So go to sleep or not go to sleep. Very simple. But nowadays, people very, very complicated. I can't sleep. Maybe I'll call my friend. Maybe I'll play on the computer a little bit, play a little game. So we have this teaching. What is the true way? When you're hungry, eat. When you're tired, sleep. Very, very, very simple. That's why Jesus said, very simple. This heavenly life is very simple. Just become like a child. That's all. So, in this first chapter of the Diamond Sutra, the Buddha is teaching us that. This moment-to-moment mind. Moment-to-moment mind. So, one day, at a time for breaking the fast, in the temple we have, that's why we have this moktak. That's at the mealtime, in the morning at 5:30, in the afternoon at 11:30, in the early morning at 11:30. And then in the evening at 5. Soon you'll hear it at 5 o'clock. That means when you hear that sound, you go to the kitchen and eat. Very simple. It's very simple to hear that, but very difficult to do. Even nowadays, as a monk, we must be very busy. And I know that experience. Sometimes you're working on the computer or having a meeting, and you hear this sound, but I'll go in 10 minutes. 10 minutes more work I'll do. If I don't finish this work, maybe I will not be able to work again for another couple of days, very busy. So it's very easy to understand this first thing, what the Buddha did. We pass right over it, but very hard to do in our everyday life. Try to keep that. Make a schedule for yourself. I'll eat at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'll eat at 12 o'clock noon, and I'll eat at 5 o'clock at night. If you can do that 1 week, I will bow to you. So it's very interesting. We understand this. It's important, not important, doesn't matter. But it shows our mind, it's only our mind that makes our life complicated. Actually, this world, we say this world is very complicated. World is very simple. It's not complicated. Our thinking becomes complicated, so this whole world experience is complicated. But only thinking. Every child can do that. So, the Buddha does this thing. In the first chapter of the Diamond Sutra, he shows us complete life, moment-to-moment life, mindful, geoinen maum, moment-to-moment mind. It's very simple, very clear. Nama inen idi hanato opsayo. One day, at the time for breaking fast, the world-honored one, even though he's enlightened, even though he's free, even though he's completely overcome ignorance, still, he keeps this mind. Very simple. So by doing this very simple thing every day, he keeps his mind very simple. It's very, oh, here's the time for eating? Eat. Finish eating? Wash the bowl. Take the bowl, put it away. Take off robe, boom, 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 put away. Then wash the feet before sitting down. That time in India, the monks and nuns don't wear shoes. No shoes. No gomushin. No shoes. So feet become very dirty, very dusty in India. So before, when I sit down, your feet touch your clothing. When you sit down, your feet touches your clothing. If you don't wash your feet, in India at that time, your clothing's always very dirty. Clothing very dirty, you must wash more. You must wash more, you must have other clothing more. So, very simple thing. Makes your life complicated or simple. So, after eating, begging, comes back, eats, finishes, takes off his robe, puts it away, washes his bowl, puts his bowl away, washes his feet. He returned to his retreat and took his meal. When he had finished, he put away his robe and begging bowl, washed his feet, arranged his seat, and sat down. 끝이다. All finished. So it's very simple. 하나씩 깨어있는 마음으로. Very simple. But the Buddha is giving us big teaching here. There's no thinking. There's no thinking here. It's very simple and clear. Just do that. Then your life already becomes very simple. So that's why in the temple there's all these symbols for lunch. Of course, all the monks know. I know the meal is at 11:30 in the afternoon. I know that dinner is at 5 o'clock. You go to any temple in Korea, breakfast is at 5:30. Some temples 6 o'clock, but usually 5:30. Go to any temple in Korea, the lunch is at 11:30. Go to any temple in Korea, the dinner is at 5. It's always the same. But we have this signal. Why? Because sometimes we forget that. We have thinking. So the signal, come back to this moment. Come back to this moment. Come back to this moment. What are you doing right now? Just do it. That's this first point. So the Buddha already shows that. The great thing about the Diamond Sutra is it starts out with action. The teaching of the Diamond Sutra, this is a Zen sutra. This is not intellectual. Because the Buddha teaches without speech. There's no speech here. It's only his action, his everyday life. That's the Diamond Sutra. That's the Diamond Sutra. Okay?